Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another show, for another episode of our Let's Talk Arsenal series, our show in which we just have a chat sometimes, basically. And I wanted to do that today in a very spontaneous kind of event, I suppose is the right way to put it. We've done on the channel now 87 days of talking about Arsenal transfers. We've covered all of the Lokonga stuff, the Tavares stuff when it came up, the Ben White stuff, which seems to be imminent. We're now talking about Lautaro Martinez. We're talking about Bruno Guimaraes, who's obviously been talked a bit about today as well. There's been loads. It's been absolutely loads about, and it's crazy that we talk about transfers, and it is such an incessant need. And I know that as a content creator. In fact, I don't just know that; I thrive off that, both in terms of me loving talking about transfers, but also for the channel. The channel thrives off transfers. Transfers is a huge, massive part of talking about football. It's not just in regards to kind of content production, but in regards to debate, in regards to research, in regards to learning more about kind of football. And today, a few things cropped up on my social feed, and I wanted to address it, talk about it, discuss it a little bit on my own, which is, I can talk to myself for hours if you like, but thankfully I've got a great audience as well that likes to tune in and listen and have their say on things as well. And I just want to show you, I'm not going to show you the article because obviously The Athletic is behind a paywall, so it wouldn't be fair and wouldn't be right. But you can go and check out this article written by Sam Lee, who is the Manchester City correspondent. He's a great guy. He's come on the channel a couple of times. He's talked to us ahead of Arsenal playing Man City. He's talked to us about possible transfer types. He's talked to us about Mikel Arteta joining the club as well. He's a really good guy, and you should go check his stuff out. He's at Sam Lee, I think, on Twitter as well. But he wrote this article about the ugly side of writing about football transfers. Now, Sam is a very experienced journalist, has amazing contacts, and has helped Manchester City fans and football fans in general to provide kind of loads of information, loads of content to get people's teeth sunk into and to find out the latest about their club. Because they can't. Because the average fan, of which there are millions of, are just unfortunately not in the privileged position to know as much and to be able to find out information. And that's the job of journalists, is to tell you guys what's going on. And you hope and you trust as a consumer that that information that you're getting is as true as it can be. Now, sometimes information isn't the best. Sometimes information that you might trust, that you might report, doesn't turn out to be right, doesn't turn out to be spot on. And also, if you haven't seen today, but James Benge, who has been on the channel, amazing writer, writing over at CBS Sports, and has written, of course, for Football London. And you all know James Benge. Of course, I don't need to tell you who he is. But he today put up a Twitter thread about kind of making the mistake, and it is a mistake, and it shouldn't have to be a mistake, but it is. And he talked about how he's gone onto the Reddit and looked at the reaction from kind of his transfer news. Now, his transfer news from earlier on in the day, obviously we talked about Tyrese John-Jules, but there was also news about Hector Bellerin. And James revealed that Hector Bellerin's agent is in London for talks with Edu to try and break the impasse between Arsenal and suitors over a deal. Arsenal want an obligation for a transfer fee, at least. And Inter and Atletico, kind of subject in that area to Trippier going maybe to Manchester United, would favour an option rather than an obligation. And obviously, James has got this information, and fair play to him, because it takes a lot of hard work. And I don't mean to be patronising, James, if you are watching. It takes a lot of work to get info, and it takes up a long time to build up kind of a base of contacts, a long time to build up people that you can trust. And so when you report on something and it's a hit, it turns out to be true. It's great and it looks great and you feel great. Like, you genuinely feel. I mean, I felt great writing an article about how to avoid ITKs in which I predicted that Hector Bellerin would get linked to Inter Milan before the links came out. And then when the links come out, I felt great. Now, I wasn't saying that I had any inside info on that happening. That wasn't what the article it was about. It's about how easy it is to kind of sometimes predict certain transfers that can come forward and then try and claim that information as a ITK on social media. But it felt great in the sense knowing that you'd got something right, because who doesn't like being right? Being right is great. Being right is wonderful. Ask my missus. Like it's a wonderful thing being right. And when you get things wrong, it's unfortunately not the best. Personally, it's not the best. People hate being wrong, and it's a really difficult thing to kind of come to deal with being wrong, especially when what you desperately thought was right wasn't, and what you may have heard, and in some cases in this media field, what you may have reported wasn't right. Now, I sat here at the end of the around the start of the 2020 transfer window, and we did a few videos in which I talked about Willian, and I talked specifically about trying to say how I thought, this deal makes sense. This is a really interesting move for Arsenal, because he's going to provide backup, he's going to provide depth, he's going to provide support for Nicolas Pepe. Now, I could not have been more wrong about my views at the time about Willian. I could not have been more wrong. I look back on those vids. I think I went back and watched one because someone sent me a link of a crying, laughing emoji, which we'll come on to in a second, about how wrong I was about Willian. And it sucks when you're wrong. It does. And usually, because I look at myself anyway as quite an optimistic, positive Arsenal supporter. When I am wrong, it tends to be a bad thing for the club. That's the curse of being optimistic and positive, is that when you are wrong about your club, it's usually because the club's done something wrong. Unfortunately, and that's certainly what happened with Willian. But the thing is, and what we do here, and what I know that you, the listeners, have come to expect from this channel, is that we allow you to be wrong. That being wrong is fine. Being wrong about an opinion, about a report, about some information is fine. As long as you're willing to go and hold your hands and go, look, you know what, guys, I got that wrong. And I do that, and I hope that you guys do that in the chat as well. And I just think, for me anyway, that online kind of the perception of the media can sometimes be very, very tainted by things that have obviously happened in other aspects and other corners and crevices of the big world that is the media. But the article that Sam Lee wrote about how he worked with a guy called Neil Jones, who reported for Liverpool, and he tells an amazing story. And I'll read the first bit, which you can actually read even if I don't think you subscribe to The Athletic, because usually they reveal the first bit of the article. And Neil Jones tweeted in May of 2013, "Scary stuff. I go out for 10 minutes and come back to find my house on fire. Thankfully, all safe and okay now." That was his tweet, which obviously a massively distressing moment in your life. Your house is on fire, your worldly possessions turn into ash. And if there could have been a chance that you would have been in there as well, and your life could have obviously, who knows what would have happened. And Sam Lee reports that one of the replies to that tweet of a horrific tragedy was, "What do you think of the Suarez quotes?" This is in 2013, when Suarez's future was still very much up in the air at the time. And that in itself kind of goes to show the incessant desire and need to know more transfer information. And it can have a massive detrimental effect on the way that, reports happen and the reaction to certain reports. And what James was talking about in his tweets about when you get stuff wrong. And James could not have hit the nail on the head anymore. And I'll read the tweet out. In fact, I'll get it up on the screen so you guys can see it. James said, "No one remembers your hits. Everyone celebrates your misses. Wait till you're sure or have double sourced, and you better mute tap in. And heaven forbid you have an opinion that does not sit at either end of the spectrum." And this is so, so true, because you're not allowed to have a view on certain things in this world. And this is not a video of me coming out saying or trying to solve this problem, because it's pretty much insolvable. It's pretty much to the point where you're never going to see a world in which people's opinions aren't respected in their entirety, because it's just not going to happen. It's just the world we live in. But it is so true that people should be celebrated so much more for the things that they get right rather than the few things. And it is only a couple of things here and there in comparison to all of the things that are spot on that they do get right. It's a really weird world. I want to get your thoughts and feelings in the chat box about this, and I do want to include you in this discussion because I think it's an important one that we talk about, and I wanted to talk about it, hence why I'm here. So I'd love to get your thoughts and feelings about kind of seeing about journalists and how you follow the news, specifically regarding Arsenal transfer news, how you react to it, how you take it in, and how you react when someone that you've followed, let's say verified, that's someone that you've trusted, reports something that doesn't turn out to be true because they got it wrong, which can happen. It certainly can happen. I'd love to know your thoughts and feelings, definitely. Let's scroll up and go to the top of the chat and see if some guys are saying some stuff earlier on in the video. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to have you in here. Sorry, one man, I am late. I was apologies. 2 minutes late. It was a very impromptu show. Oh, isn't this ironic? One of the earliest comments in the video was, "Where's Ben White?" Stephen, don't you worry, son. He'll be on his way. Don't worry, mate. The irony, right? The irony is just, crazy. Christoph says, thank you, Tom, for your honest approach and willingness to provide a platform for diverse opinions and even-handed manner with which you do so. Absolutely no problem at all, Christoph. That's why we do the phone-in show. I've enjoyed doing the phone-in show. I haven't been able to do it of late because of holidays and other stuff, but getting people's opinions on, as long as they're respectful and level-headed and discussion-based, it's great. Love it. If you're going to jump on here and throw abuse at people for their view, you're not welcome. It's just not the environment that we want. The real Yanis says, I think people have issues. Who cares about ITKs? Don't listen if you aren't interested. Now, this is a good point. And Yanis raises up a point that I struggle with myself. And you've seen this struggle because you've seen the hashtag ITK rater joke that I've done on social media. I struggle a lot with ITKs. They frustrate me. They get under my skin. They really do get to me. Not because I'm trying to explain why it frustrates me about the kind of the ITK phenomenon is kind of, it's nothing to do with kind of tarnishing. Well, I suppose there is a bit, say, tarnishing kind of the old idea of being a reporter and a journalist, and the fact that people like Chris Wheatley and James Benge go to extreme lengths to get information that they have well sourced to get you guys that info. And then maybe someone's got a lucky guess about something that they tweeted, say, a few weeks back, and it turns out to be the same thing that these legitimate guys have gone out and sourced. And Charles Watts is another one, David Ormsteen. I could go on forever, the amount of reliable sources that there are. That these guys have well-sourced info, and it just happens that a few weeks back, someone guessed excellently, as we've talked about on the channel before, how easy it can be to predict some transfers. And, you know, if you throw enough, you know what, a wall, some is eventually going to stick. And the thing is, I struggle with the lauding and the retweets and the likes and the attention and just the lacking in kind of, you know, the lacking in kind of legitimacy of it and the fake credit and that side of things. That I genuinely really do struggle with. And I really shouldn't highlight certain ITKs. And the ITK rater thing I've stopped doing of late because so many people message me saying, look, just ignore them. Basically, like we're giving them a platform and that's what they want. And I know I was doing that. It was just kind of, what frustrates me most isn't about how many likes they're getting, how many retweets they're getting, how much false attention, false credit they're getting. It's the effect on the people that read it, that follow it, that trust it, and that they're being misled because for the one thing that they might guess and get right, later on when they get things wrong, people are going to assume that they're right. And that's why I'm critical sometimes of, say, the AFC Bell account. And when you'll know, whenever there's a kind of a tweet which may question information that comes from that account, which has admittedly got something very right with the Thomas Partey situation, anything questioning that account, that then leads on to, and it's not saying specifically you're right. It's not like someone turning around going, you're wrong. That account's wrong. At no point have I said that, as far as I'm aware. You can check my tweets. But it's more been about questioning the tweet, questioning the news, questioning what's being said. That's what I do. Like the Madison, let's talk about the Madison tweet from the Bell today. So the Madison tweet comes out and there was a lot of tweets. And to me, everything that I read didn't tell me anything that wasn't kind of already out there. And so I tweeted and I said, I'm not sure what the update is. And so I think I said, in short, nothing new. So I don't think anything new had come out of that thread of tweets. To which obviously I got quite a lot of opposition to that tweet of saying, look, why are you questioning it? It's an update, etc., etc., etc. And in my mind, like, the account's got a lot of credit for getting the Thomas Partey thing right, fair play. But if you're going to play this game, if you're going to get involved with this, to me, I just want to see some legitimacy. More legitimacy, I think, is the thing. It's like, don't tweet for the sake of tweeting. If there's genuine news to come out, get the news out there. But again, I think it's a personal thing. I think it's something I personally struggle on the side of ITKs and maybe a bit of frustration and something that maybe I need to move on from. And I can see people are watching this going, yes, Tom, you do need to move on. You so need to move on from worrying about ITKs. But yeah, it's a frustration. We all have our vices. We all have our weaknesses. And that is definitely one of mine. Definitely one of mine. Sartvik says, questioning has, since posterity, led to humanity discovering the truth. It can never be considered bad. It's rational, which is a very good way of looking at it. There is nothing wrong. And by the way, this kind of video is not me saying that you should never question James, never question Chris, never question Charles, never question anyone for their information. It's about how you do it. That's the key of this video. It's if you disagree with what they're saying or you don't think what they're saying is 100%, either don't say anything or, question it respectfully. That's the way, because as I said, these guys go out and get such good sources, such good bits of information and put it out to us. And the torrent of abuse and the obsession with knowing more info, it must be crippling. And I'm only a real kind of first foot in the door in this business. And on Saturday, I'm hoping to bring you guys an amazing article. And when you see the article that I'm going to put out on Saturday, you will know what it will mean to me. This is what I'm going to say about it. I'm so excited to publish this article on Saturday because it is. I'm trying to think of anything else that I've posted that I was genuinely more proud to have happen. And I'm so excited. I've got a day off tomorrow, so it would have come out tomorrow, but I was tempted to just sit and write tomorrow about write this article tomorrow. But I'm going to take my day off because I only get one day off a week, and I'm going to take it. So Saturday, I can't wait to share with you the article, and make sure you're following at the Gooner Talk TV and at 101 Great Goals, because the article will be coming out there. I can't wait for that. But it's just, whilst I'm such early in this kind of world, this crazy world that is football journalism, it's really important that we just take a second sometimes and understand kind of the mental side of things. This comes out at a very kind of apt time with the whole Simone Biles situation as well. Of course, the Olympics, which obviously it's related, but I'm not going to go into detail because, I don't think I'm well qualified to talk about it, to be honest, and have too many opinions on it, but it's very apt. It's coming out at this moment in time. That when you're online, when you're in the videos, when you're in the comments, just think about how you're responding. Just think about how you're responding to someone. Think about how you're talking about someone, and yeah. We'll see how it goes. Stephen says, Tom, let's distinguish between 1, news, which can be wrong, 2, opinions, which can't ever be described as wrong, and 3, predictions, which fall somewhere between the two but are rife with clickbait. Clickbait's a really interesting word in this world, because for those that don't know, you may have been living under a rock, but clickbait was certainly something that came, I think, early 2010s is when I remember it most, but I'm younger than many. But I remember clickbait as kind of a concept most during that period, where articles or headlines came out that would say one thing, and then what they were saying was not really what was in the article itself, or the headline was designed to make you click it. Now, a headline in itself should do that. That's the job of a headline. A headline it should grip the reader. It should tell the reader what's in the article, but it should make you want to read it. And those two things have to come together. It's when you lose that part about it tells you what's in the article and it tells you that news. That's when it crosses that line. Now, I don't think it's been as rife this year. I must say that very cautiously. I feel like clickbait in general has been something that has, diminished. I think it's gone down. I think there is less of it. I think people are more savvy actually these days. I think people are more aware of clickbait, and that's why maybe it's been able to be kind of diminished. That's, yes, yo-yo, purposely misleading. That's it. And I feel like clickbait has diminished. Like if you look at the thumbnails for my videos, I mean, if we go onto the channel, we've done so many. Let's actually do that, because then we can self-criticize. We can be critical of me. Let's do this. That's the best way to do it. If we go onto the videos that I've done on the channel, there's so many. So this morning's show, price revealed for Maddison and Ødegaard, right? It's a headline. It makes you want to read it. And in this video, you're going to find out the report. And obviously, this is all news. Reported prices for Maddison and Ødegaard. And in that video, we talked about the price revealed for James Maddison, which Sky Sports say is around £70 million. And we talked about the price of Ødegaard, which Chris Wheatley speculated on Instagram yesterday was about £35 million, he believes. Okay. And so I've revealed to you the prices that have been, that have gone out there. Let's look at the one before that. Can Arsenal sign Martinez? Now, this obviously it's important that the kind of question mark is there, and that you're putting information there about can Arsenal actually do it. And in that video, we talked about whether or not we felt that Martinez could be signed. We'd said about how Inter have got financial difficulties, the length on his contract, Arsenal's financial capacity, the fact that Hector Bellerin is involved in kind of a situation of Inter Milan, and all those factors then and coming up with a conclusion. We're in that same video, we talked about I'll find the tab now. We talked about Willock going to Monaco and the reports about that, and the latest on Martin Ødegaard. And we talked about all of those things. Let's talk about some of the more kind of ones that could be maybe considered a bit more risky. On 2 days ago, we did a video called Lautaro Martinez to Arsenal, ? And obviously, that type of thing on YouTube, very usual. You see kind of question marks and exclamation marks being used. And it was because on that day, there were reports linking Lautaro Martinez to Arsenal. Now, if I'd have said Lautaro Martinez is going to sign for Arsenal, that's very different. It's asking a question and then it's discussing it. And we did discussing it on the channel. And that's what's important. I'm now just going to have a quick scan of that thing, because I'm pretty sure 2 departures, which there was, 2 players left the club. Arsenal to be busiest, which was a quote from Dharmesh Sheth at Sky Sports News. Arsenal make 3rd signing before Ben White, which turned out to be Biref from Fulham. It's about how you kind of run the, it's about how you run the thumbnails. It's about what you say. And it's important, but I understand why people get so angry about it and stuff like that. But it's important to be self-critical and stuff like that. SCA says, hi, Tom. I'm a US Arsenal fan with so many names tossed about as targets. I'd really love to know, given our current roster, who's our starting 11 and who of them do think need to be replaced? It's a great question, SCA. And actually, it's ironic that you asked that, because tomorrow I was planning on doing a show in which I talk about the lineup, the prospective lineup at the end of July. So make sure you tune in for that, and I'll try and cover that. Luke says, you have a healthy, rationale approach on all transfer issues. I don't doubt it. Don't lose it. The football news and all other are full of liars, haters, people that want some kind of glory. And glory is obviously big. People love attention. People love followers and that kind of thing. I could post a video saying Lautaro Martinez is going to sign for Arsenal, and in that video not say anything about that being the truth. I could put a tweet out saying Martinez to Arsenal is on. Like, that's not true, is it? That's just not true. It's just reminding me of that. What is it? Who's the old Labour leader? Ed Miliband. That gif. It's just not true. It's just wrong. That's the kind of thing. Yeah, enticing viewers to watch is, in a way, a tool in content creation. As long as it's not over the top, it's all right. If you wasn't enticing people into watching your videos and into interesting topics of discussion, then no one would watch them. Absolutely no. It's part and parcel of it. But it's a fine line that you have to avoid crossing. And I hope that you believe that we do rather we don't cross that line. And that's our hope. And if you ever think I have, please call me out respectfully, but please call me out and tell me if you think I am doing something wrong, because there is nothing I love more than feedback. I can't get enough of it. I really can't. I took down a video yesterday about Lautaro Martinez because I wasn't happy with it, because there were things in it that weren't necessarily right about some of the statistics that were wrong. I haven't taken a video down since during the season. I think like halfway through last season. I don't often do it, and I only do it when I'm not happy with what's in the content, and I wasn't happy with it, so I took it down because I wasn't happy with it. So that's the important thing. Jared Carver says, late arriving. Good afternoon, everyone. Jared, I'm so sorry, mate, but you tuned in right at the end of the show. I wasn't going to be sticking around for too long because we've got things to do this evening. But thank you, Jared, for tuning in. I'm sure you'll scroll back and watch the rest of the video. Appreciate it. And trust me, guys, I've been reading your comments whilst I've been talking. It's an amazing multitasking skill, but I have. And thank you ever so much for all of the kind comments that you're throwing into the chat box. I do appreciate it. If you could drop a like on the video and subscribe, I really would appreciate that as well. And if you want to vote for us in the Football Content Awards for our non-clickbaity content, then please make sure you do. You just need to tweet using the information that is rolling across the bottom of your screen. Go and read Sam Lee's article, which is in the link in the description as well, because it's a fantastic read. Go tell James Benge he's awesome, and he's doing some great work as well over on Twitter without being too patronizing. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for the transfer update show, in which you will not see a clickbaity headline in the thumbnail, in which you will see what we will be talking about in the thumbnail is what you're going to see. I'm hopefully going to have a chat with Lee Judges. It was meant to be today, but Lee's had some stuff come up. So hopefully we're going to go and chat with him soon. It might be tomorrow, it might not be, but we will be having a chat. I've got some great guests coming up for you guys on the channel as well. And as I said earlier, keep an eye on the Twitter feed on Saturday. I'm not saying anything more, but I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing about this article. It's going to be great. I will see you guys very, very soon. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you as always. And as always, up the Arsenal.